Spotify, and online at rocklandnews.com. Thanks for joining us today. Here are your hosts, Tom Osa and Mike Kluger.
Snowpocolypse 2026. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, what are we going to do? I'm your host today, Tom Osa. We're going to have the news, we're going to have the weather, and we got a weather person, a professional weather person that's going to report us. Also, we have guest Vivian London Crooks from London Tax Service is also going to be talking about an upcoming workshop on how you can save money on your taxes this year. Plus updates from town supervisors and a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on this morning. Thank you everybody for joining us today on AM Rockland News. And we first want to get into thanking our sponsors. So I'm just going to switch over to our special Snowpocolypse panel that you can view while we're going through thanking all of our sponsors. First of all, we want to thank Yabu Fence Company. Yabu! Yabu Fence Company, 1965. That's when they started their business. They're located in West Nyack, New York, and they can provide you all of your needs for your outdoor fencing. Dana Pest Control, located in Tompkins Cove, New York, third generation, family owned. They can get rid of all of your pests, except for your relatives. Anybody or any of creepy crawls, you got to get rid of them. You go to danapestcontrol.com and they can help you out with any of your pest control needs. Easy Temp, located in Hackensack, New Jersey. Kobe Sushi in New City, New York, with their new jazz music lounge. They have music on Wednesdays and Saturday nights. You got to check out this place. The sushi is awesome. Great vibes over there. You can learn more about them at kobenewcity.com. Susan Bova from Coldwell Banker Realty. Lauren Molino Muller from Howard Hanna Rand Realty. And as well as Whole Shot Bagels, 99 Signs, FZ Perfection, Clean Space Maintenance Management Company, and our new sponsors for the year, the New York Boulders baseball teams. And thank you very much, guys, for sponsoring us. And let's get right into the weather. First of all, Snowpocolypse 2026 is upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have gotten to your bomb shelters and you are ready to go. We put out a few humorous posts last night about everybody fighting over toilet paper and paper towels and canned goods over. But it is a serious thing. Obviously, we want to make sure that everybody's safe over the weekend. We are going to have some updates from our local town supervisors in just a little while. But first of all, I'd like to introduce our new weather person for Rockland's News, and his name is Pat Pagano. He actually does weather for many, many years as a professional meteorologist. The name of the company, the news out in Long Island, where he does the news, it's WALK FM Radio 97.5. There is a website for that. I'll bring that up in just a little bit. But here is the latest update on the Snowpocolypse by our weather person, Pat Pagano.
Sun and clouds and windy today, middle 30s. Partly cloudy, brisk, icy cold tonight, close to 10 above. Partly cloudy, windy, bone-chilling cold Saturday, 15 to 20. Snow Sunday, heavy at times at the Sunday night, with accumulations ranging anywhere from 8 inches if it mixes with sleet to as much as 14 inches elsewhere. Highs 20 to 25. Snow ending Monday morning, windy 30. Partly cloudy Tuesday, breezy mid-20s. Sun and clouds and windy today, middle 30s. Partly cloudy, brisk, icy cold tonight, close to 10 above. Partly cloudy, windy, bone-chilling cold Saturday, 15 to 20. Snow Sunday, heavy at times at the Sunday night, with accumulations ranging anywhere from 8 inches if it mixes with sleet to as much as 14 inches elsewhere. Highs 20 to 25. Snow ending Monday morning, windy 30. Partly cloudy Tuesday, breezy mid-20s.
And that was Pat Pagano. I actually played that twice. I didn't even realize that I did that. It's like a little 30-second clip that he sends us from now on about the weather. And I think it's going to be useful because I've been doing the weather for a few years now. And I'm obviously not a professional meteorologist. I'm not even a professional news reporter. We just ended up doing this. We bought Rockland's News several years ago. And we have some really great guests and personalities. And special thanks to, for instance, our town supervisors, our local congresspersons, assembly persons, state senators that are on. but we also want to make sure that we have the professionals involved as well. And Pat Pagano is going to fill that particular component. We also have a new local sports news show that is on Wednesdays at 9:30 in the morning. It's the Sports Roundup, and with special guests, for instance, Seth from the New York Boulders. He's on, as well as our new sportscaster, and I'm not kidding, this is his name, Tom Brady. Yes, no, not the Tom Brady, but Thomas Brady is a local business person in Rockland County, and he has a sports performance coaching business. And we've been talking over the last few weeks, and we're going to be doing some live streaming from some local sports events that are happening. For instance, at college, high school sports, baseball, basketball, football. So it should be pretty cool. It's another thing that I don't know too much about. I mean, quite frankly, I did cross country in my freshman year in high school, and I placed 88th out of 89 runners. And the 89th one threw up. So I don't even know if that counts or anything, but this guy, Tom Brady, I think he knows what's going on, and he will be able to handle that. We're going to be right back with Vivian London Crooks from London Tax Services. She's going to be talking about an upcoming webinar to show you how to save on your taxes. And that's going to be next Thursday, January 29th. But first, let's hold for our next sponsor, and we'll have Ilana announcing.
If you're looking for Rockland County's best sign service, call 99 Signs. Their team of sign makers and designers will go above and beyond to offer the expert services you need, from concept to creation to installation. 99 Signs provides indoor signs, outdoor signs, car wraps, golf signs, lawn signs, banners for music festivals, and everything in between. They provide high-quality work for every job they take, perfectly tailored for you and your establishment. If you're looking for Rockland County's best sign service, call 99 Signs at 845-643-8000 or visit them online at 99signs.com.
Okay, and we are back with AM Rockland's Snowpocolypse episode. Again, thank you everybody for joining us today. And please remember to share out this podcast. And you can also catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and also the recordings end up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I am very pleased to have on the show today a colleague and friends that I know for probably 6 or 7 years, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but Vivian London Crooks from London Tax Services. I have known her as an accountant and a friend in several networking groups, notably the Rockland Business Exchange, which meets every 2 weeks over at City Line Diner. And she's going to be talking with us about an upcoming webinar to help you save money on your taxes. Vivian, thanks for joining us on Rockland News today.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me today, Tom.
I'm really happy that you're on because I think I've expelled all the oxygen out of my lungs from that intro that I did. So you and I can talk for a little while.
Yes.
You know, and I have a co-host too, is Mike. But he's not available today, so I'm holding it down. But yeah, thanks for being on the show today. And you know, and you and I, we know each other from several networking groups. I got the chance to see you again. I didn't even realize, but you showed up yesterday at our Thursday networking group. So I guess first off, tell us a little bit about what you do, and you know, we'll get into what you're going to be offering for free next week. For people that are concerned about their taxes.
Sure. Would love to. And it was great seeing you yesterday after a few years. It was a great pleasure to talk and sit and collaborate with you.
Definitely.
So my name is Vivian London Crooks, and we provide tax preparation services for our clients mainly. And we also help our business clients reduce their tax liability legally so that they're able to use that money for other things that are more important to them, like investing back into their company, going on vacation, spending time with friends, family, you know, the things that matter most to them. So we help them to strategize so that they're not paying, quote unquote, Uncle Sam all that money that they don't really have to. And we also provide bookkeeping services for those companies that just don't have time to track their income and expenses and keep them organized so that when the year ends and tax time rolls around, they're able to have everything spick and span, as we would say.
Exactly. Yeah. And, quite frankly, and you mentioned the most important word is legally. Um, I, and I think this is safe to say, 15, 17 years later, when I first got in business, I got I had my first accountant, and no names, of course, but
Hmm.
in Rockland County, he actually retired since then. But the guy didn't know his tuchus from his elbow. Quite frankly, his motto was, "I keep you out of jail." Not an opening intro that made me feel comfortable, but I tried him out, and the guy didn't like QuickBooks. He had like a very very old version of QuickBooks. As a matter of fact, like one year he didn't even do my taxes. It was like, okay, we're done. So that was like a year into it, and thankfully
Hmm.
I ended up with, after that, going 17 years now. I've been around very reputable accountants such as yourself, that advise people how to properly move their money, right? And
Hmm.
also, most certainly, make sure that it's put in the right buckets so that it's properly invested,
Correct.
corporations and such. Now, if I can ask this, and you mentioned the word legally, that's a very important component here. You deal with, in your business, many different corporate entities. What do you
Yes.
find is a useful tax saving tip, just off the bat, that might generally be beneficial for people that have like a company and also, they run their personal lives?
Right. So one of the biggest tips that I can share, which I've seen persons or small business owners save upwards to 15 plus $1,000 in taxes, is their entity structure. And
Hmm.
if it's applicable to them, their entity tax entity structure saves a lot. So as a sole proprietor, you are responsible. If you're a single member LLC, you're responsible for something that's called self-employment taxes. And that basically breaks down to your contribution to Social Security. So you're paying the full 15.3%. If you are in a position where it's applicable to you to change that structure to become a corporation or an S corp, you will be saving that 15.3%. And
Right.
then there's other benefits that you can get being as a corporation, things like putting yourself on payroll, being part of a retirement savings plan,
Mhm.
hiring your teenagers if you have, good job descriptions and they are working in your company. Things like writing off your car, your business car. So there's a lot of other perks to helping you to reduce your taxes just by changing your entity structure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that is helpful for my business, because typically I'm out and about and meeting with people for, to see if we want to do business together. I have a lot of lunches and, early evening dinners with colleagues. And if you have a
Hmm.
dinner with a colleague or a lunch with a colleague, and half of that bill that shows up is tax deductible. In other words, your part of the bill is
Correct.
completely tax deductible, as long as you're doing legitimate business, talking about business, you know?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
big important component. You also mentioned about the 15.3% tax savings. Is that different in different types of corporate entities? I'm an S corp typically for all of my corporations. I know LLCs are very popular. Is there a different taxation levels, for different corporations?
Yes, there is. So just for an example, if you are a single member LLC, you are subject to self-employment taxes. If you are partnership, you are subject to self-employment taxes. If you are a corporation or an S corp,
Mhm.
The corporation entity itself is not taxed at
Right. It's
that
passed.
rate of the self-employment tax. Usually what happens is whoever the shareholders of the company, they report whatever income or loss on their K1s that is produced from that company, from the company's return, and then they would take that K1 and prepare their personal taxes. So the rates are different, and we know we don't have time to get into all the
Yeah.
details, but it's as an S corp or corporation. Just to share one tip, you can actually pay you as the owner a salary on a W-2 and still have and take distributions and that are not taxable.
Right.
So as long as those distributions are not higher than what you're paying yourself on a salary, because we don't want to raise red flags with the IRS, but you have more flexibility being a corporation.
Yeah, and payroll definitely upped the game over here because over the course of time, we had needs that I could not fulfill by myself. So it made sense to bring on people to handle certain tasks. And I agree with you, like, hiring teenagers and such. We got a relationship with the local North Rockland High School Academy of Finance
Mm,
just up the road here. And we usually take on an intern or two during the summer, and they handle various news and technical.
yes.
Works out good. But a
Yeah.
big game changer, big, was bringing payroll into the mix. And I am my own company's employee. I am an
That's
employee of the
right.
company. Yeah. So
Absolutely. It works.
yeah. And then in terms of things like distributions and stuff like that, one of my dreams has always been to. I mean, I don't think that we're going to be able to do the cruise around the world for all the employees over here. Like, all right, you get a health savings account, you're good. That
Yeah.
sort of thing. Like, so any perks that you recommend that are good. The how do I put this? Uh, Perks that you could provide to your employees and to yourself that would also be tax friendly if you were.
Yes, so we have one of the things like the flexible spending is a good perk. Your retirement plans for your employees are good perks because they're not the only ones who get that tax savings, but you as an employer, you're able to deduct those contributions to those funds. Any fringe benefits that you may offer, accountable plans. Those are perks that between yourself and your employees that you can actually benefit from, and they are tax savings for both the employee and the employer.
That's good. Yeah, helpful for both employee and employer. I completely agree. Any things that business owners should avoid? I know you're going to get into this much more in detail next week because you have the webinar coming up. That's going to be, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, January 29th at 7 o'clock. We will be providing that information on Rockland's News. Just go right to the homepage at rocklandsnews.com and you're going to see a link for this upcoming webinar. But Vivian, is there anything you recommend, for instance, that people avoid doing, especially around this time of the year or planning, that sort of thing?
So one of the things I would recommend for business owners is, and this is something that happens time and time again, being disorganized in the sense of not tracking your income and expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Record keeping. That's a big problem that we see over and over again. And most
Right.
times industries that are service industries or trade industries, their books are all over, and a lot of times they can't find receipts. They might be under paying or overpaying, and they end up losing out because of that, because they're not tracking their expenses correctly. So that is one thing it's a big pet peeve for me, so that's why that came out first.
Oh yeah.
For me.
Oh, without a
um
doubt. And I
yeah, and
suppose
you're
at this day, I consider myself fairly techie. Anything that goes out of the account, there's a notation of what it was for. One of the tricky parts is saving those receipts and scanning them and sending them
Mhm.
to the right location. Um,
Correct.
because there's a lot.
And the
But yeah, go ahead.
And the other thing too is when you just mentioned that is commingling of personal and business.
Hmm.
Have an account solely for business that's actually a business account, not using a personal account and saying yes is your business account. No, because of IRS regulations with that, but not using both your personal and business and commingling. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, I agree. And and I'm going back literally 18 years. It almost feels like I was born when fire was invented. Um, but it's like, I always kept the personal and the business completely separate, mostly for the purposes of the first accountant saying, stay out of jail. It's like, okay, I got that part. Now what? But yeah, keeping everything nice and separate into, completely separate buckets. I recently came across, this was last year, a book that, it's one of those things where you do it and then somebody writes about it. And then you're like, oh, yes, exactly. It's a book called Profit First. I don't know if you ever came across it yet.
I actually use that system. I love that book. I love it. It was
You know, it's so brilliant, and just for those,
yes.
why don't you, yeah, talk about it?
So for many years I always wanted to know like how can I pay myself first, but I needed a template, a strategy. And I don't remember who I heard mention the book. I don't know if it was on a network, me, someone mentioned it. I downloaded it and I listened to it on Audible. And it was a game changer for me. And for the past, we're in 2026. I think I started in 2023 or 2022 implementing that. So I actually created a spreadsheet with my percentages, and I created five different accounts, bank accounts, and I fund each one twice a month. And I was able to put aside monies for taxes, for um, profit, for my operations, for what's the other one, payroll, for my employees and myself. And from those pockets, I was able, I mean, it was so clear as day. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And
absolutely.
I was able to, and the beautiful thing about it is that because you're putting aside, there's one account called the tax account. So if you do owe taxes at the end of the year, the monies is right there. The
Yes.
sweet part is if you don't owe taxes, guess what? That money is to do whatever you want to do
Mhm.
because your tax obligation is already met for that particular fiscal or calendar year.
So you don't just
So
donate the extra money to the government?
nope, nope, you don't.
Kidding.
You don't. It's yours because you already met your obligation for, that tax year for 2025 or whatever
Right.
year it is. That's it. And then you start the new year all over again. So you can either keep adding to it, or if you want to use that money and reinvest back into your company,
Yeah.
or, go on vacation, whatever it is, it's yours to do whatever you want.
Nice. I love it.
I love it. I love it.
I picked up that book, and I've been lucky over the years to pick up books while I'm traveling to certain places. Like, for instance, in 2000, I want to say 2012 or 2013, we were on a mission to Haiti. We went to City Soleil to deliver water. City Soleil is one of the poorest cities in all of the Western Hemisphere. So we're
Mhm.
on it took a plane trip over there, and I picked up the book. It was called The 4 Hour Work Week.
Yes, I like that book too. Yes. Yeah.
It's actually the 4 hour work day, but I've come to peace that I'm never going to have a 4 hour work day, so the week or, whatever. But, and then the second book was about a year and a half ago. We were headed to New Orleans, me and my wife, and I was reading Profit First. And, you know, and I had been doing this kind of naturally. I didn't have 5 bank accounts. I had 4.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, okay.
taxes, income, profit, and like operating expenses. And then it talked
Mhm.
about having like the 5th one, you know, which was easy through the bank account, but just having it written down in front of me, I was just like, yes, I
Yeah.
wasn't doing something stupid for the last, you know, 16 years. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was in line with, I mean, you know, if you will, I'll use this term, GAAP, generally acceptable accounting
Yeah.
principles.
Yes.
So yeah, you know, it just made a lot of sense, and I'm glad that you know, we both got excited about hearing about
Yeah.
topics. You just have a great book.
And I'm an accountant for over 30 years, and I've never really seen it broken down as simple as how he broke it down, which makes a lot of sense for persons who are not in the accounting world. I mean, I understand the accounting side of things, but for those who don't understand it, it really makes it simplified for them.
Yeah, absolutely true. So tell us about next week. And by the way, we have Vivian London Crooks on with us right now. She's from London Tax Service. She can help you maximize your dollars. And you can learn more about her at londontaxservices.com. Phone number is 646-917-7714. And Vivian, she's going to be hosting a webinar next Thursday. Tell us a little bit about the webinar that you'll be running.
Okay, so the webinar is going to be three of us will be having the webinar. We'll be having myself, CFO, which is Hopes and Scott, which is like a business coach to help businesses get organized, know where their numbers are, and organize themselves in a way that they're successful in what they do. And then we have a banker, Julie. She will be giving us an idea of the importance of fraud detection and how to protect your assets.
Right.
And we're going to go into things like, why would the IRS audit me? Am I leaving money on the table and paying more taxes?
Yeah.
And do I have the right structure? Is the structure for my business? Sometimes people might think, yes, it's the best structure, but if you don't speak to a professional and do tax strategy planning, you will never know. You're just going by what TikTok says or what ChatGPT says, but you need to have someone to actually help you work those numbers through to see if it's beneficial to you or not. It might not be this year, but it might be 2 years down the road. But at least if you plan now, you know what you need to do now in order to get the results in 2 years or 5 years or 6 months from
Yeah,
now.
exactly. And it no matter what, and everything happens year over year tax wise, it's good to have the plan in advance, well in advance if possible.
Absolutely.
And you know Hopeton, as well as Julia Chitillo, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, from M&T Bank, and Hopeton Scott from Scott Tax Services.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's in our networking group. He's got a great delivery. Like I just love, like, you know, he does a very compelling 60-second presentation
Yes.
of intros.
He does. He does. He does. I love his energy. His energy is, he actually helps, he motivates me to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, yeah, me too. You know, because hey, look, as a business owner, it's like you got to bring it every day. That clock
Yes.
keeps on going, and so do we.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's why that it's good to be a part of, a networking family, business networking family to tap into each other's resources, to help one another, to, you know, get motivated. I remember when I first came into a networking group, I think maybe like 9 years ago, and I'd never heard about business networking groups before. And one of the things that I found was so beautiful for me was Calendly. I've never heard of Calendly. I
I
would be on the
love
phone
calendar.
trying
Yes.
to schedule, my appointments. Like, okay, this time is not good for me. That time is not good. And going back and forth, back and forth. And Calendly is like, what is Calendly? And then, you just share the link, you set up your schedule and put it out to them. They can choose whatever. I was like, that was the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
things like these, it might not be necessarily financial, but it would be like considered as time management tools that you can learn, business tools that you can learn, from each
absolutely.
other. So I love it.
And the cost of technology, and from my experiences being in web development for 18 years, which I don't recommend to anyone, by the way, I find that the cost of various pieces of technology typically go down in price over the course of time.
Hmm.
Because what happens is the market gets saturated, and then you get
Hmm.
people that are up and coming, which is good, and they're like, you know what, I could do it better. Let me offer a free version of this, and so on. So it works out pretty good.
Yeah.
Calendly was definitely up there, on the list of most awesome applications. Anything else that technology wise that you like to use for time management or anything like that?
Well, what I do, I mean, I like, well, for time management, but another app, and it's Audible. I mean, I know it's books,
Yeah.
but it has helped me develop in ways, I would look for books on leadership, on organizing. That's how I got Profit First, the 12 hour, not a 12 hour, the 12 week year. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's like so many things that I've learned and implemented, like pieces that is applicable to me to help my business run a bit more smoothly. I have a virtual admin, and I found her and I put it, as somebody told me, put an ad on Facebook, put it out there to these mommy groups or whatever. And I was like, huh? I ended up not paying anything for advertising, putting it on Indeed or whatever. And I got the most, I love my admin now. She is so good. And I found her on
Mhm.
Facebook. So, these little things, it does help. It does help.
Yeah, I think of social media as like a very big lake. And you jump in and you're just part of the lake, but it's very interesting when you find the right people to
Yes.
work with from that lake, and then you could actually do the things that make us more productive over the course of
Right.
time. And it ain't easy. I've seen, I mean,
Absolutely.
even
Yeah, you
myself.
have some that go and come. That's true. But once you find that right fit, it's a beautiful relationship.
Audible is definitely one of my favorite applications. I use it through Spotify as well. And there's and here at Rockland's News, we always aim to be nice and objective. Those of you that are listening, we encourage you to make your own decisions about how things go and so on. But the latest book that I'm reading is from a local. He's actually a national congressperson, and I'm not even going to name his affiliation, left, right. It doesn't matter at this point. It's like what's going on. But the name of the audio book that I'm listening to, and it's great. I mean, the guy is just an absolute comedian. It's called How to Test Negative for Stupid and Why Washington Never Will. So we can just enjoy it from a distance. But yeah, and I mean, quite frankly, the Profit First book, pick that up on Audible. Um, I do like to sit down with a good book every once in a while and like read through it. Any other books that you recommend or audio books, Vivian?
For if you're interested in leadership, I'm reading now by John Maxwell. I think I must have read like three or four of his books, but Living Intentionally was one of the books that I listened to, which is very, very intentional, I would say.
Yeah,
And another book that he wrote is The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
I've heard of
So
that
if
one.
you're looking to, yes, it's very on point, and it helps you to think about certain things that you do in, personally, and how you handle yourself, how you communicate with people. It brings attention and to highlight the areas in which you might be weak and need to be improved upon, or if you're strong and you can do better.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was a big fan of those, especially early on. Um, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. You ever come across that one?
Yes, yes, I have that book. I've read that book.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely a game changer for me. I think I was like, geez, must have been either 24 or 26 years old. And kind of opened up my eyes a little bit. There's another book that I was in a local town supervisor's office about 10 years ago. He's no longer in office, but it's called The 48 Laws of Power. You ever hear of this one?
Oh, wow. No, I've never heard that one. I must write that one down.
It sounds dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Like if you
It's
read
like how to influence people.
you
To
show
be
up
a great
to meetings,
influencer.
read this is like, I know the 48 laws of power. But yeah, it's got like things from history, Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, and quite frankly, after reading it, and I'm not going to go into detail on it. Quite frankly, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. Um,
Mm.
you know, and I think it was more just along the lines of how pompous. Nothing against the author, nothing
Yeah,
against
yeah.
the author, but I'm just like, okay, how do you know it's just 48 laws of power? Maybe there's a 49th one. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
didn't discover
Mm-hmm.
it yet. Like imagine, like, for instance, you go through all these laws of power, and then it's like, damn it, we don't have a connection with Orange and Rockland.
But as time evolves and as time goes, some of these books, like the book that I read with John Maxwell, he said, but when he wrote it 21,
Hmm.
but about 25 years later, he wrote another book updating that book.
Yeah,
So
up.
as time go by, it might be for that season, it might be 10, it might whatever, but then you realize through your experience, no, it's actually more than 10.
Yeah, discovering new components. Absolutely.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So next week is going to be the webinar. It's going to be at 7 o'clock. Um, just give us another quick overview. I know we're winding down here, but another quick overview of the points that you and Hopeton Scott and Julia Chatillo are going to cover next Thursday at 7 o'clock on a Zoom webinar.
Okay, sure. So I hope to see you next next Thursday at 7 p.m. on the 29th. And the topics that we're going to be reviewing is, basically IRS audits. Why would the IRS audit you? Are you leaving money on the table and paying more taxes? How to protect your assets? How do I know that I have the right business structure? How do I know that I am saving money in my whole business structure by the things that I'm doing or not doing? So these are the things that we'll be discussing next week, Thursday, at our workshop.
Awesome. Awesome. So Vivian London from London Tax Services. You can learn more about her at londontaxservices.com. And the phone number is 646-917-7714. And note that we are going to have the article for Rockland's News about the webinar that's coming up next week. And we're looking forward we're going to be participating in it as well. So we hope to see a lot of you there. We're going to be back in a little while with more information about the Snowpocolypse of 2026. It's going to be a crazy weekend. We have our weather person, Pat Pagano, that's going to be coming back on. Right now, we're looking at 8 to 14 inches of snow that's going to drop on Rockland County. Oh, the humanity, ladies and gentlemen. And let's just thank our sponsors for handling part of the humanity of this. Yabu Fence Company, Dana Pest Control, Easy Temp located in Hackensack, New Jersey for all of your ice machine and commercial refrigeration repairs. Kobe Sushi with their jazz music lounge, music on Wednesdays and Saturday nights. Susan Bova, Coldwell Banker Realtor. Lauren Molino Muller, Howard Hanna Rand Realty. We'll be back in just a few moments with more sponsors and some more fun. I'm Tom Oza. Talk to you soon.